How many times do you think a person's trust can be broken? Once? 3 times? Or maybe 10? The truth is, your brain doesn't count it that way. According to psychologists, the human brain doesn't store painful experiences as ordinary memories. It stores them as potential threats. That's why you may eventually forget the person who betrayed you. But your brain can remember the feeling for years. And here's what's fascinating. To your brain, who hurt you isn't the most important part. What matters is the possibility that the pain could happen again. And this is where everything begins to change. The next time you meet someone new, you're no longer seeing them. You're seeing your past. Psychologists describe this as a protective response. Your brain is trying to prevent you from experiencing the same pain again. That's why it starts analyzing everyone. Their tone of voice, their eyes, their smile, the way they speak. It's almost as if there's a voice inside your head whispering, "Don't trust this person." And sometimes, that voice is right. But research has found something interesting. When the brain gets used to expecting danger, it eventually starts seeing danger, even where none exists. This state is known as hypervigilance. Simply put, your brain is constantly on alert, always suspicious, always expecting the worst. That's why some people say, "I can read people the moment I meet them." But that isn't always intuition. Sometimes, it's an unhealed wound. Here's another fascinating fact. The human brain remembers negative experiences much more strongly than positive ones. Scientists call this the negativity bias. That's why someone can treat you with kindness 100 times, yet one betrayal can outweigh them all. And then another psychological process takes over. Confirmation bias. Your brain begins searching for evidence that supports what it already believes. If you've convinced yourself, people can't be trusted, your brain will unconsciously look for proof that you're right. As a result, even an honest person may seem like a liar. A genuine act of kindness may look like manipulation. And this is where the most dangerous stage begins. Because eventually, you stop doubting other people. You begin doubting yourself. Am I really sensing the truth? Or is my brain simply trying to protect me again? That question may be the deepest level of distrust, because at that point, you're no longer losing trust in other people. You're losing trust in your own perception of reality. But one question still remains. If distrust is simply your brain's way of protecting you, then what you're feeling, is it truly intuition or just the echo of your past? But that's not the whole story. Here's another question. Why do some people get betrayed once and still find the courage to trust again, while others experience a few betrayals and begin to distrust the entire world? The answer lies inside the brain. The human brain is constantly trying to predict danger. To do that, it relies on past experiences. This process is called pattern recognition. In simple terms, your brain searches for familiar patterns. Here's an example. If a dog bites you once, the next time you see a different dog, you'll probably be more cautious. That's completely normal. Your brain is trying to protect you. But when it comes to people, things become much more complicated, because no two people are exactly the same. Yet, your brain still looks for similarities. One person lied to you, the next person speaks in a similar tone, and your brain instantly concludes, they're probably lying too. But in reality, it may be nothing more than a coincidence. Psychologists call this overgeneralization. It happens when the brain takes one painful experience and applies it to every similar situation, and that makes distrust even stronger. Here's another fascinating fact. Research suggests that the brain stores negative experiences much more deeply than positive ones. That's why a single betrayal can leave a stronger mark than years of genuine kindness. But here's where it becomes even more interesting. If someone lives in a state of distrust for a long time, it doesn't only affect the mind, it affects the body as well. When your brain constantly expects danger, it produces more of the stress hormone called cortisol. And when cortisol stays elevated for long periods, sleep can become disrupted, concentration begins to decline, irritability increases. Even an ordinary conversation, can feel like a potential threat, which means distrust isn't just an emotion, it's also a biological process that can influence your entire body. But one important question still remains. If your brain is trying to protect you, why does that protection sometimes become the very thing that hurts you the most? Maybe your brain isn't only protecting you from lies. Maybe it's also protecting you from new opportunities. And perhaps the greatest loss isn't being betrayed again. It's losing the courage to trust anyone ever again. But here's another question. If the brain has such a powerful defense mechanism, why do some people eventually learn to trust again, while others spend their entire lives unable to let anyone get close? The answer is, there are actually two different kinds of distrust. The first is healthy caution. It protects you from genuinely dangerous people. The second is constant suspicion. And that doesn't just keep bad people away, it pushes good people away too. Psychologists offer another explanation. The human brain often prefers familiar pain over unfamiliar uncertainty. Sounds strange, doesn't it? But think about it. If betrayal is all you've experienced for years, one day, real kindness may actually feel uncomfortable, because to your brain, it's something new, and anything new can be interpreted as a potential threat. That's why some people push away the very people who truly care about them, not because they want to, but because their brain believes it's protecting them. Here's another fascinating fact. Every time your suspicion turns out to be correct, your brain activates its reward system, almost as if it's saying, "See, I protected you." And little by little, suspicion becomes a habit. That habit becomes part of your personality, and eventually, you begin to believe, this is just who I am. But the truth is, it isn't your personality. It's a defense system, built over years of painful experiences. The problem is, every defense system comes with a price. Distrust may protect you from deception, but it can also cost you friendship, love, and genuine human connection. So here's the real question. Is it truly safer to live your entire life doubting everyone? Or is it better to trust sometimes, even if it means getting hurt? Everyone will have a different answer, but never forget one thing. Trust isn't blindness, and distrust isn't always wisdom. Sometimes, the line between them is incredibly thin, and only you can discover where that line truly is. Maybe your instincts are right, or maybe you're simply listening to the echo of an old wound. So today, ask yourself one question. Are you seeing people for who they really are, or are you seeing your past reflected in their faces? Mindox. How well do you really know yourself?